What up, Elmore streamers? It's Dollyboy1923, aka Pixel Donkey.
The Amazing World of Gumball was, or still is, provided the movie ends up happening, a really great show in my opinion. It rightly received praise for its creative art style, colourful characters, and an abundance of physical and absurdist cringe humour. However, one thing about this show that's always stuck out to me is how deft it is at satirising internet and also Generation Z culture. In the final episode, The Inquisition, there's a scene where Gumball and Banana Joe do the floss. Flossing, on the off chance you don't know, is one of the great new dance moves. 12-year-olds won't touch real floss, but you can be sure they'll be doing this dance, not just 12-year-olds either. I thought its inclusion was quite a funny break in proceedings, and Gumball has always been good at including random things like this and getting a laugh. There's a hint of irony as a banana and a blue cat stare at the audience while flossing in sync with each other. It doesn't go on too long and works within the context of the episode. I inadvertently contrasted this to a moment in The Simpsons which, in my opinion, tried a very similar joke and it fell flat.
Lisa is so stupid, so very, very stupid, so dumb and stupid and smelly too.
So what is the Amazing World of Gumball doing right compared to these other shows? Well, firstly, and subjectively I hastily add, the jokes are funny and well timed. The writers come up with relatable and funny situations that come from being a regular internet user, and especially from being someone who grew up with the internet. For example, The Uploads shows Gumball and Darwin getting sucked into Elmore Stream and can't stop watching videos. This is a very familiar situation to one that the majority of people who watch this show will have been through. I know I certainly have. The whole episode just gets the internet, and as such, the episode works very effectively. The writers feel as though they completely understand the current internet age and keep up with its regular changes, and are able to effectively put elements of this under the microscope and poke fun at it. However, most shows have at least a few young writers, and people who grew up with the internet are not that young anymore. However, there is another just as important factor at play. Gumball and Darwin come across as though they grew up with the internet. Contrast this to The Simpsons again. Bart and Lisa just don't feel as though they grew up in the 2010s. I know that show in particular is a rare case because of how long it's been going on, and the floating timeline means that characters' dates of birth are always moving forward, but that becomes a problem when the kids just don't feel like the kids of today. The Powerpuff Girls is another example of this. When that show was brought back, much to the chagrin of creator Craig McCracken, voice actress Tara Strong, and most of the internet, a lot of the content in the episodes was trying too hard to reference memes and current internet trends. A show will never be 100% timeless, and I don't think writers should necessarily try to make it timeless, but some of the new Powerpuff Girls episodes already seem more dated than the old ones do. Part of that was because they often tackled ephemeral memes. Getting back to Gumball, the writers tend to tackle larger modern topics like YouTube as a whole, because the digital landscape will not change drastically enough for the episode to become dated so quickly it was pointless. This is important in media such as this. At the very least, an episode needs to be relevant when it airs. Ah, I hear you say, but what about the web? That was just a string of banal jokes about how
old people can't use computers, lol.
And yes, Gumball was past its prime by that point. And other than a couple of funny gags, that was a disappointing final episode to cover the topic. However, that doesn't take away from the great episodes like The Review, The Internet, and the aforementioned The Upload. Given how prevalent social media is, and will continue to be, I hope more shows learn to write about it effectively. It's still ripe for satire, I think. We saw Bizaardvark on Disney Channel, a show which had a couple of good ideas in some of the episodes I've seen, but ultimately never felt like it understood what it's like to be on YouTube. Indeed, video making felt largely neglected in that show's final season. More and more children's programming is having to integrate video making and streaming into their shows, and I hope that they get better at it. No disrespect to Coop and Cammy Ask the World, I've only seen one episode, but the streaming aspect feels unrealistic, and young kids will see that even more clearly than I can. Even some big Hollywood films have struggled with dealing with YouTube, like in A Simple Favor. Is this a live stream or a video, Paul? Paul? Writing about the internet today is obviously different than it was 15 or even 10 years ago. Too much of the world is too knowledgeable to look past even small inaccuracies. It would be like if suddenly the whole world got really interested in orbital mechanics, and you couldn't go 5 minutes without someone quoting Kepler's 3 laws of planetary motion. Movies about space would have to evolve. As visually stunning as gravity is, it doesn't always hold up under scrutiny, and so more realistic physics would have to be utilised. I can't see that happening obviously, at least not anytime soon, but the point stands. Since social media is so prevalent, even small mistakes are glaring. And this is what makes the Amazing World of Gumball so impressive. The writers do their homework and make sure the jokes ring true and they feel appropriate to the characters. They have evolved and continue to evolve, with references to internet culture. Meanwhile, we see other shows and movies for all ages getting left in the dust. And hopefully this forces other shows to get better at writing the internet, and I'm excited to see what kind of episodes we get in the future because of that. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts on what I've said in this video, or anything to add, then make sure to leave it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond. I don't get many comments, so that shouldn't be difficult. And you can check out the last video I made on Undergrads, which is another entertaining cartoon. And overall, if you like what you see, then please consider subscribing. Thanks.